Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to send my greetings to the 2022 meeting of the High Contracting Parties to the Convention on Certain Conventional Weapons, or CCW. Taking this opportunity, I congratulate Ambassador Czech of Poland on his election as chair of the meeting. I would also like to acknowledge the leadership of all the CCW office holders for 2022. Ambassador Sturk of Bulgaria on amended Protocol 2 on mines, booby traps, and other devices. Ambassador Sanchez de Gracia Ovis of Spain on Protocol 5 on explosive remnants of war. And Ambassador Soares Domingo of Brazil on emerging technologies in the area of lethal autonomous weapon systems, as well as the improvised explosive devices, or IEDs, and Protocol 5 coordinators. The international security landscape poses increasingly complex and multidimensional challenges. Now, more than ever, the CCW and its protocols serve as crucial legal instruments that strengthen international humanitarian law and seek to regulate warfare. In such an environment, the 2022 meeting of High Contracting Parties represents an important opportunity for states to discuss relevant and vital matters under the scope of the CCW. This includes efforts towards the universalization of the Convention and its protocols, and compliance by high contracting parties. In this context, I would like to welcome Malawi as the most recent high contracting party to the Convention and Protocols 1 and 2. I also commend the efforts of the presidents of amended Protocol 2 and Protocol 5 to universalize these instruments, which have led to the Philippines consenting to be bound by Protocol 5 this year. I encourage high contracting parties, future office holders, and partners to bolster their efforts to achieve universal adherence to the Convention. The Implementation Support Unit of the CCW stands ready to provide pre-adherence support to all states wishing to join the Convention and its annexed protocols. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I would like to touch upon 3 critical issues in the context of the CCW and our work. First, rapid advances in weapon technologies, including integration of higher levels of autonomy, are increasingly challenging existing governance structures. In this regard, Secretary General Guterres has consistently emphasized the urgent need to tackle the threat posed by the unregulated use of lethal autonomous weapon systems, or LAWs, that can choose and engage targets without human intervention. Their unregulated use could lead to serious violations of fundamental rights and runs the risk of undermining commitments under international humanitarian law. We must seize the moment and come together to effectively address these emerging threats. I therefore urge the high contracting parties to decisively advance the work of the LAWs GGE, to narrow and overcome their differences and agree on a pathway leading to an effective international instrument. The issue of improvised explosive devices, IEDs, is the second to which I would like to give attention. We all, I think, understand that the effective control of conventional weapons is central to guaranteeing human, national, and collective security. And yet, we continue to see a steady rise in the prevalence, frequency, and sophistication of IEDs. These weapons remain multifaceted, cross-cutting threat to peace, security, and sustainable development. While some progress has been made in eliminating their use, challenges have nonetheless multiplied. Conflict has become more urbanized. The number of armed groups is increasing, and the use of IEDs is becoming more and more common. This issue does not lend itself to traditional arms regulation. Rather, we must rely on whole-of-government and multidimensional approaches to make progress in this regard by bringing together several policy strands for comprehensive, context-specific national action. Finally, and as a result of armed conflicts in many regions of the world, the number of civilian casualties from explosive remnants of war has risen at an alarming rate. I welcome the crucial work conducted under Amended Protocol 2 and Protocol 5, including the expert discussions that help to deepen our understanding of new developments and explore ways to address challenges. Such exchanges are vital for the protection of civilians, which lies at the core of the Convention. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, let me now turn my attention to a more prosaic matter. For the CCW to continue to carry out its vital role within the global disarmament framework, it requires sustainable and predictable funding. In this regard, I welcome and appreciate the contributions made to the Working Capital Fund. However, I would like to reiterate that solving the financial difficulties faced by the Convention and its protocols depends entirely on the timely and full payment of assessed contributions. I urge states parties to fulfill their financial commitments. Mr. Chairperson, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are all standing from the same understanding as we begin our work at this meeting. It is clear that the global security landscape is deteriorating and that it's civilians who increasingly bear the brunt of armed conflict and the use of certain conventional weapons. Therefore, as norms around the use of these weapons are shaken, it is imperative that we consolidate and build upon a shared understanding of the landscape, and that the high contracting parties to the CCW and its protocols strengthen their commitments under those instruments. Collectively, we must insist on their full implementation by all parties to a conflict. I wish you a productive meeting, and I thank you very much for your attention.